Each graduating session selects a spokesperson. The spokesperson for the 266 is Thomas Verdi. Deputy Chief Verdi is a 29-year veteran of the Providence Police Department, the largest police department in Rhode Island. He has served as commanding officer of the Uniform Division and as XO of the Administrative Division. He has built and maintained strong working relationships with local, state, and federal agencies in the community. In 2006, he was the recipient of the National Association of Police Organization Top Cops Award. Deputy Chief Verdi serves on several boards and commissions representing the Providence Police Department, and he has represented Rhode Island law enforcement on the Rhode Island Parole Board since 2006. Separate from his accomplishments in law enforcement, he also serves as an amateur scout for the Major League Baseball's Cincinnati Reds organization. He has a bachelor's degree in finance from the University of Rhode Island and a master's degree in criminal justice from Boston University. His wife, Kim, wife of 27 years, is here with him today. They have 4 children, Nicole, Thomas, Maria, Joseph, and Mr. and Mrs. Verdi, his mother and father, are able to join us today. So welcome, and please welcome the 266 spokesperson, Deputy Chief Thomas Verdi.
Thank you. Indulge me for 1 minute. I'll never get the opportunity to do this again. And I think the person that enjoyed that introduction mostly is my mother. She loves hearing about our son. Okay, smile. That side. 266. No one does it better than us. Okay, I have a lot to say and I have a limited amount of time to say it. Before I begin, I want to recognize a former classmate who had to leave our class several weeks ago because of the untimely death of her mother. Angel is in the audience today. Angel, where are you? On behalf of the 266, on behalf of the 266, we want to say thank you for being here. You have been missed. Director Comey, your faculty and staff, and everyone and anyone associated with the FBI's National Academy. On behalf of the men and women of the 266 graduating class, we want to simply say thank you. Director Comey, you have assembled the most talented team, and we are grateful. My dear friend and fan of law enforcement, United States Congressman James Langevin is here today. Thank you. I value your friendship. Family and friends, no one understands the sacrifices that law enforcement officers make more than their family and loved ones. And that's because no one sacrifices more than they do. You have witnessed all too often the hurt and raw emotion that we experience. You've all had a couple of these nights over the years when your officer came home and walked right past you and into the children's bedroom and gave them a kiss. From the doorway, you looked into his or her eyes and saw the despair of another child, maybe one who had been forcefully removed from their own family or one who left this world way too soon. However, you've also stood by your officers when they've been celebrated. You've witnessed the sheer joy on your officer's face when he or she walks in a parade, the poker face hiding their pride when they're promoted or get awards, the heartwarming smile that peeks out from under the fatigue when your young son or daughter gets to play with the lights and sirens in their cruiser. Our loved ones experience all of our ups and downs with us, except they didn't sign up for them. They've cried with us, they've laughed with us, and they've stood by us because they love us. I can safely say on behalf of the entire 266 that we love you too. Thank you for all you do and for being here today, watching us graduate from the most prestigious law enforcement institution in the world. I almost forgot My parents here, my mother and father, my beautiful wife, Kimberly. Sunday is my father's 80th birthday. Dad, happy birthday. 80 years old, he can still shoot his age in golf, and he could probably, on a warm day, complete the yellow brick road. Okay. You know, there is a reason why Hollywood makes movies about police officers, why television studios produce TV series about law enforcement, why books about our profession are often written, why poems and prayers are so frequently dedicated to us, why newspapers and websites love writing stories about what we do. The reason for this is a simple one. What we do matters, and it matters greatly. We're the ones in the front lines protecting life, liberty, security, and human rights. It is a law enforcement officer who touches the lives of individuals each and every day. You see, Hollywood knows that reality trumps fiction, and the men and women who wear blue are more heroic than any guy in a cape. Here at the FBI National Academy, we've had the pleasure and privilege to learn and train alongside some of the world's greatest law enforcement heroes. The 266th National Academy is comprised of 222 leaders in law enforcement, representing 48 states and 20 countries. The National Academy is the best law enforcement training in the world. For 11 weeks, this is where the best of the best come to train and become even better. Think of the movie Top Gun and Tom Cruise. Here, we immersed ourselves in academics, athletics, and social bonding. Less than 1% of all law enforcement officers get the opportunity to attend. The National Academy is the West Point, or Colonel Indianapolis, of law enforcement, and is both an honor and a privilege to have been a part of it. The memories of our time here will be rich, with a better understanding of leadership and the scope of our authority, a fortified appreciation for our brothers and sisters behind the badge, and a newfound reverence or hatred for Wizard of Oz references. I know that feeling. My wife and I have 4. It is the experience in the National Academy that is everlasting. What will truly linger with us in memory are the conversations we've had, the stories we've heard, and the laughter we have shared with our classmates and staff. Like the story about our French classmate who is still learning and perfecting her English, who, upon arriving at the National Academy, was taken under the NYPD's language development team and is now fluent in some of New York's most famous sayings this side of the pond. Picture the visual. Speaking of NYPD's finest, Chris, Andy, Brian, we will always cherish the time they arranged to host members of the 266th. The visit included a tour of One Police Plaza, the Freedom Tower, the 9/11 Museum, a boat tour of the city on the Hudson River, and dinner at the famous Carmine's restaurant, with a guest appearance from NYPD's Pipes and Drums. We experienced New York City unlike any other could. What about that second Wednesday night, when who we thought was an introverted man, Jeremy, took hold of the microphone and sang Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody? A crowd of over 150 of us cheered you on with cell phones in hand, swaying back and forth. You deserve the standing ovation you got that night, Jeremy. The stories are virtually endless. The trip to Philadelphia, excursions to D.C., the exploration of the battlefields of Gettysburg, Fredericksburg, Antietam, and others. Remember International Night. Some of you probably don't. A multicultural banquet prepared by our 20 international brothers and sisters from their respective countries. What about auction night? The 266 raised over $30,000 for the charity COPS, Concerns of Police Survivors, the most money ever raised by an Academy class. And the 266 made history as the first to auction off 2 of its own, Tim and Sandra. You can find out from others the circumstances. And we will never forget Texas night and Louisiana night, indelible memories that will last a lifetime. A perfect snapshot of the identity and diversity of the 266 has to be the time we watched Game 7 of the World Series. Imagine 30 or 40 of us sitting together on the quiet side of the cafeteria, the table flanked by East Coast offices on one side, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, and Providence, Rhode Island. And on the other, we had officers from Chicago, Ohio, Detroit, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, Mississippi, California, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, and others. West Virginia was there also. Interspersed among us were classmates from Denmark, the Netherlands, Egypt, Lebanon, Oman, Argentina, Romania, Spain, Italy, and more. If only you could have listened to the conversations and the accents and had seen the medley of mannerisms. Half the time, we didn't even know what one another was saying. When the Cubs fans scored a run and the American Cubs fans would cheer, the international students would cheer. When the Indians scored, the international students cheered again. They didn't even know why they were cheering. But it didn't matter. What did matter was that they were showing support for their American brothers and sisters. For them, it was about friendship, fraternity, and loyalty to the 266. This unyielding bond we share isn't automatically bestowed upon us on day one. We had to work at it, and boy did we work. Our fitness challenges, from the Tin Man Trot to the Yellow Brick Road, there is no challenge, fitness or otherwise, that is too big, too difficult for the 266. In fact, one of our female classmates, Leslie from Oakland, set the all-time National Academy record for the 1-mile run. And I must say, as a group, the women are more fit than the men. It's true. They're more fit than the men. And my fitness partner for the past 11 weeks, Heidi Marshall, she led the pack. We run 5Ks for fun. She runs 50-mile road races for fun. I've never relied on more Advil and ice in my lifetime. Also, fitness director John Van Voort, a.k.a. Coach. He and his staff have mastered the art of humanely torturing people. And yet we thank him for it. He should work for the CIA, not the FBI. Moreover, where else can one train while Marine helicopters hover above, with live rifle fire ringing out and munitions exploding around you? Only at the National Academy. In addition to these memories full of joy, smiles, and laughter, we will also bring home memories of moments that enlightened us and molded us. Like the story of our friend Ahmed from Pakistan, who on the night before his first oral presentation, he was in my group, learned that one of his best friends, along with 93 others, were killed in a terrorist bombing of a police academy. Collectively, our jobs demand that we make sacrifices, but Ahmed was a fateful reminder to all of us that some of us have bartered more than others. The morning he gave a presentation on situational leadership, referencing a real-life example, you could have heard a pin drop. Imagine policing in Pakistan, Lebanon, Iraq, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Romania, or the Philippines. Speaking of presentations, not enough could be said about the brilliance of our instructors at the NA. They are true experts in terrorism, cybersecurity, forensic, media relations, leadership, law, and other relevant topics. One of our constitutional law instructors recited the Fourth Amendment so much in class during the first 2 weeks, I was hearing it in my sleep. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, papers, houses, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, particularly describing the places to be searched and the people and things to be seized. And what about Dr. Gene Larnard, who taught us about stress management? He's highly intelligent and charismatic and has a true appreciation for law enforcement officers. On the first day of class, he taught us 2 things. One, that socializing is therapeutic, and that choir practice, especially in the boardroom, is healthy in moderation. Apparently, our friends from Illinois failed to take note of the specific language in his second lesson that choir practice is healthy, but not every night. Speaking of the boardroom, some of the most profoundly intellectual dialogues and debates took place there, and not in the classroom. Topics for conversations ran the gamut, from baseball, college football, to all of the world's problems, and we would resolve them, too. The Outstanding Attendance Award goes to several of the 266. However, the unequivocal chairman of the boardroom has to be Big John. Big John, who by happenstance is my roommate, a request I certainly did not make, but I'm so glad he was, truly excelled in the boardroom and is deserving of his own commemorative plaque there. Now, on a much more serious note, excluding the military, there does not exist a more vital, more important profession than law enforcement. There simply isn't one. We protect and serve others. As public servants, we exercise our authority for the common good. We demonstrate selfless sacrifice while at times performing courageous and heroic feats. We listened during an enlightenment session as our guest speaker defined a law enforcement hero. He or she who would sacrifice what is most important to him or her for the benefit of others. He or she who would sacrifice what is most important to him or her for the benefit of others. This is our story. Remember when we heard from retired officer Brian Murphy? He was shot at for 1 minute and 43 seconds, was hit 15 times, and survived. 1, 2, 3, 4. Imagine being shot at continuously for 103 seconds. Remember his message to us? Never, ever give up. That was his story, and it is part of our story. How many homicides do we average annually in the United States? 2015, we had 15,696. Over the last 25 years, we've had more people killed on our streets than in 10 Vietnam Wars. Think about that. And we know all too well that behind every statistic is a story, usually a story of heartache, suffering, violence, and poverty. And it is the law enforcement officer whose mission it is to deal with these tragedies. Again, this is our story. The law enforcement landscape has changed drastically since we first signed up. These past few years have presented some of the most challenging times in recent history for law enforcement. Long gone are the days our problems were only local. Long gone are the days when officers were paraded as heroes. Long gone are the days when we were considered the good guys. We've gone from chasing robbers to terrorists, from tapping landlines to cybersecurity, from protecting protesters to being protested against. It seems like every other week we turn on the TV and hear about another mass shooting, another terrorist attack, another police assassination. Imagine, at times, we are being sought out, specifically targeted, hunted, solely because we wear the uniform. The narrative of who we are and what we do has been hijacked, while the demands and scrutiny of our jobs have exponentially increased. However, we will never relent, for we know that the overwhelming majority of those individuals we serve and protect truly respect and appreciate the mission we perform each and every day. But the challenges we face keep evolving and getting more complex, and the risk of harm to us has never been greater. And too many of our brothers and sisters have made that ultimate sacrifice. In 2015, we lost 130 officers. To date, we've lost 131, 59 shot dead. Some of us here at the 266 were friends of those fallen officers. There are 20,267 names etched on the walls of the National Police Memorial that the 266 visited. 20,267 officers, thousands of stories, not merely statistics, of heroism and true tragedy. The bravest, most courageous, and compassionate people in the world are sitting right here. And our stories of knowledge, courage, integrity, and human sacrifice are part of our daily routine. When an officer is killed in action, thousands of men and women in uniform, hundreds of police motorcycles, honor guards, and mounted commands line up to pay tribute. The final salute cues row after row of white gloves. The bagpipes start whimpering, and when taps finally starts playing, the dry-eyed are the exception. As Dr. Larned said in his first class, heaven is a better place. You're damn right it is. Yet we are reminded by the inscription on the police memorial beneath one of the lions. It is not how these officers died that made them heroes. It is how they lived. Again, this is our true and proud story. It is this reckless thirst for public service that made them heroes. We all traded the comfort of anonymity, peace, and security for a future full of uncertainty, danger, and at times denigration. And yet we'd sign up 1,000,000 times over because we don't do it for the recognition or for some self-serving altruism. We do it because this is what we were put on earth to do. We chose service over self. We are the firewall for peace, order, and liberty, sacrificing at times our enjoyment of life so others can enjoy theirs, sacrificing at times what is so important to us for the benefit of others. This is our calling, this is our purpose, and this is the story of the 266. Lastly, I have stood on podiums before. It is truly a privilege and may be the greatest honor of my police career to stand on this podium representing the men and women of the mighty 266. We have formed bonds, unbreakable bonds, and for the rest of our lives, we will be proud members, one family, the 266 family. Our story and our sacrifices are the reason why when the 266 comes marching onto the track or processes into the atrium, the young FBI cadets step back and take notice, as they should. The 222 men and women representing 48 states and 20 countries are the best of the best at what they do in the world. And our time here at the National Academy has made us even better. Ladies and gentlemen, I say this not with any arrogance, but with unwavering confidence. There have been 265 National Academies prior to ours. None of them, I repeat, none of them, has the comradeship, spirit, and devotion to cause of the men and women of the 266 graduating class. Who are we? 266. The mighty 266. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and God bless.